Welcome to the show that looks at truth, fiction, and reality with a smirk. I'm Aaron Peterson.
I'm Amanda Sink.
And I'm Zach Parkerson.
And welcome to Smirk. Each week, one of our hosts introduces an original story, which we then use as a springboard for a spirited and lighthearted discussion, whatever the moral or theme of their story was. But this week, it's none of our turn. Nope. Right, Amanda? Tell us what we're going to do this week.
We're taking in a listener story, and we're reading it, and we're discussing it. So if you want yours read in the future, you can send in your own story, which will probably be better than all of ours anyway.
Hey!
Hey!
No.
Hey!
No, get your own podcast. Nah, our stories are good. We've got Christy Perry, I believe, is up this week. We've got Christina Flores coming in the near future. So we've got some listener stories. That's pretty exciting.
We do. Hopefully we'll get some more coming in.
Yeah, Stephen King, still waiting on him. He said he's had to keep extending his, so it's taking a little bit more time than we thought.
He's got to be really descriptive.
R.R. Martin, we're waiting on him too.
We're waiting for a while.
Hold your breath. You're more likely to get a story written in by Tolkien than you are by Martin.
That's probably true.
From the grave.
He's
going to Weekend at Bernie's that story.
It is more likely that one of Tolkien's kids finds an old, dusty paper that he wrote to Smirk Podcast than it is that George R.R. Martin would find the time to write a paragraph.
He's busy.
He's very busy.
Since we're like all, budding authors in our own ways, George R.R. Martin has had this, they're his books, and he's elected to take his sweet ass time to write them out, the Game of Thrones books. And so he still hasn't written the last two books or still hasn't published them. He's looking a little, worse for the wear. But is it really a problem since it's his series?
Well, I think when you start getting older, people start getting more concerned. They want the story to end by the original creator, right? Didn't Robert Jordan ran into that problem with Wheel of Time because he died before he could finish it. Some other author had to come in and finish it up. Apparently, did a great job. But people want to see like this is the magnum opus of a single mind, his world. So we want to see it finished up by him. And then I think there is a little bit of, well, why'd you sign the deal for the show if you weren't going to write any more books? Mm-hmm. That I think people get upset about. Like, he doesn't have an obligation per se to do it, but I feel like he almost had a silent contract with his audience of, yes, they're making the TV show, but don't worry, there's still the books. Those are the things, that's what matters most. And then it was clear that it did not matter the most.
So you feel just because he introduced it to the world, he should finish it.
I find it surprising that maybe he's just honestly scared at this point at what
I would be
massive thing it's become and how much it's expanded and how many moving pieces he's got on his chessboard. I don't know. Maybe he's seen some storylines that he had play out in later seasons. Maybe people complained about it or something, or wasn't well received. So now he's getting nervous about the pressure and he's just like not focusing on it. There's going to come a point where it's going to be too late for him to finish it. I think he's going to regret that. If I were him, I would want to finish the story. As a storyteller, you want to tell your stories and put them out into the world. So I'm surprised he hasn't finished it, but he's making a lot of money.
I mean, it's hard to argue that. It's like, well, I don't want to spend my time writing or hanging out in the hot tub with all these hot chicks that just want to hang out and be with the Martin.
Is that what he does?
But does he?
That's what I do. My crazy beard.
I suspect his stature in life has changed since the show came out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, his books did okay, but he was never rich. Now he can make things disappear rich. That's pretty rich.
Right.
Now that car accident didn't happen. It disappeared. He's that kind of rich.
Yeah, he's genuinely famous in a way most authors aren't.
Right.
Right. Like Brandon Sanderson's writing the Stormlight Archives, which is probably one of the most popular fantasy series right now. But I don't think most people know what that guy looks like. But everybody knows who George R.R. Martin is now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he looks like a cab driver.
A household name.
Cab driver.
He does look like a New York cab driver.
He does. All right, Amanda, are you ready with the story?
Yeah, I'm ready if you guys are ready.
Now, you've read this. Good?
Yeah, I think it is.
Would you say it was bad if it was?
Probably. No, I wouldn't say it was bad. I would not.
I'm
that
just
would be
kidding.
mean.
That's not something.
But it is. I do like the dynamic she chose to go with.
All right, have at it.
With a big sigh, Laura decided the silk top would have to do. Glancing at her mountain of previous rejects on the bed, time was getting away from her, and if she didn't want to be too late for the service, she had better accept that this was as good as it gets for now. She hated the way she looked. This was nothing new. Being fashionably late to church had become tradition, but had nothing to do with fashion. If she could slip in a tad late, perhaps no one would notice how miserable she felt. She promised herself that she would do better the following week and finally lose those 10 pounds. A row behind, a curly-headed Megan watched as Laura entered like clockwork. That girl was always late, but looking spectacular in that gorgeous shimmery emerald tunic. How she wished she could pull off something like that, but alas, the good Lord had not blessed her with curvy features. Instead, she felt more like a 14-year-old boy most days. Friends always praised her for being thin and sleek, but she always felt unattractive and tomboyish. Sighing, she thought how silly it was to be so obsessed with outside appearances. Time to focus back on the music, encouraging latecomers like Laura to come in and feel welcomed. Ashley gazed ahead, imagining her husband, Tom, was wishing she had hair like the brunette in front of them. She didn't know her personally, but this woman was gorgeous and looked like a model. She was so tall and thin, and that hair! Ashley had curly hair like that when she met Tom, and he always commented how much he loved it. She supposed she could have it again if the 80s truly were making a comeback and perms ever became a thing again. Sighing, she was almost too distracted to notice the music coming to an end as everyone began to take their seats. I bet Tom wishes I looked like that, was the last thing she thought as she followed suit. Tom could hardly focus on the sermon this morning. Driving into the parking lot, he noticed Aaron had already traded his barely year-old F-150 in for the latest model. He could tell just by looking at it, it had all the bells and whistles. Must be nice, he thought to himself. Here I am, still driving my 2005 Toyota Corolla, hoping it makes it one more year so we can pass it down to Allie, who will be driving soon. Maybe I should talk to my boss about more overtime. Ashley wouldn't be happy, but what else was new? Service came to a close, and as usual, everyone made their way out of the sanctuary. The Andersons picked up their 4-year-old Brandon from Children's Church and headed out. On the ride home, the customary, "What did you learn today?" question was asked. Brandon told them they talked about how God created all the animals. The Andersons operated the local dairy farms, so animals were of course one of Brandon's favorite subjects. In thoughtful contemplation, Brandon asked, "Do you think animals ever wish they were people like us?" With a chuckle, his dad said, "Well, you know what they say about cows. The grass is always greener on the other side." What are your thoughts on the moral of this story?
Moo.
That might be close.
That was a cow, in case anybody...
We caught that.
Old MacDonald had a farm.
I think Ashley is very insecure, and she thinks Tom is always looking for some cows in the other pasture.
Yes, I mean, it sounds like a story of envy.
Yeah. Envy.
Right down to the Ford F-150.
So what is your, in simplistic terms, what is your moral?
Insecurity will cripple you.
Insecurity will cripple you. And Zach, what's yours?
Envy.
Damn.
Envy.
Son. He's very close. Sometimes we're so busy comparing ourselves to others, we miss the fact of how wonderful we are. But she goes on to talk about questions for us.
Hang on.
I love when people... Whoa.
Hey, hold up.
Whoa.
Hold up.
Sorry, Erin had questions that are far more important than anything she could have.
Exactly. This goes to you, sir. What is envy? That's a word. That's not a moral.
Yeah. I think it can be.
Envy.
A moral. What is the moral or theme of the story? If your theme is envy.
Glass. Mouse. Toilet paper.
Envy is an emotion. It's one of the 7 deadly sins.
You have to give it context. You have to be envy does something. Envy leads to something. Envy something, not just envy. That's like envy. Got it. Nailed it. No, you didn't.
I mean, really, that's the only word that's consistent in both questions.
Lamp.
No, I think envy is definitely a moral. You can write a story about envy.
I realize
you can't write a story about
you have to have envy. Envy has to have some kind of context in order to be utilized. It can't just be the word. Otherwise, it's just the moral is walking.
Everybody likes, this is why everyone likes my stories more than yours, Aaron. This is why.
It's probably fair.
Well, anyway, we're changing the topic, and I'm going to ask you guys the first question that Lee Perry has for us.
Popsicle.
No. Do you think the problem of envy affects men and women the same?
No fair. Did you write that?
No, I swear.
Did Zach write that?
She did.
What's the question?
I told you, envy is in both of her questions.
All right, what's the question again?
Do you think the problem of envy affects men and women the same?
Zach, you seem to be obsessed with envy, so why don't you take it?
Oh, well, I'm not obsessed with it. Please.
Please, dear. I couldn't be envious.
Yeah. You've already got everything. Do you need to worry about what other people have?
Oh my gosh.
I am envious of your lack of envy.
Nice. In the American culture, women are almost taught to be envious.
How so? That's an interesting perspective.
Well, just things like magazine covers or the whole beauty industry. Honestly, there's no beauty industry targeting men. There are sharply dressed men, but I feel like, oh man, 2018. It's always so difficult. Yeah, in our culture, a woman can see a beautiful woman and be like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. But a man sees a handsome man, he's not taught to think of all the things that go into his looking beautiful. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like clothing brands, I feel like are a much bigger deal for women than they are for men traditionally.
Yeah, overall, I would say there's definitely some guys where fashion is imperative, but it's more there's the norm for women than it is for men. Right.
There's always exceptions to every rule. But the red carpet walk talks about a woman's dressed for 45 minutes, and they'll say, but Cribbs Hemsworth is looking great. They don't go into the designer details of the suit as much as they do for a woman's dress. So I feel like women are almost taught to be envious.
Yeah, I agree with that. In fact, I think it's a really sad and true reality. If you even look at, and jumping onto what Zach was saying, look at art. Art's a prime example. Art always has, awards for their art, whether it be Grammys, whether it be Emmys, with Oscars, literary awards, whatever the awards are. You go to the red carpet, women are dressed and they're being critiqued on what they wear. They're talking about the designer. It's all about how beautiful they look tonight. Guy gets there, they talk about the art.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time, every single awards thing. And that I think is all we need to say that his point is true. So it's much harder. It's hard out there for a woman, much harder than it is for a guy in that respect. What about you? What do you think?
It's really hard out there for a pimp.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid it, but you brought it out.
I agree. More so than anything, where women are taught to pick apart every detail and learn to be envious or, whatever for each particular aspect of a female is more accurate than anything, because you're taught it's not just overall, is this person prettier than I am, or they have a nicer car than I do, or a house or something like that. It's their hair is much nicer than mine. I wish I had the waves in my hair, but my hair is flat and straight. Or I wish that I had smaller boobs in this, or big boobs, vice versa. You know what I mean? Like, it's very broken down where there's like an idolized shape and look of a female, and that's kind of what you're supposed to aspire to, thanks to beauty magazines in particular. That's what's sold. Our culture sells on that, and profits from it. So that's been pushed in for so many decades that women just naturally look at every different aspect. Like, oh, well, my eyelashes aren't as long or as dark and voluminous as this person's, or something like that. And it breaks it down to every different aspect. So I think envy can hit women a lot harder in terms of beauty standards, but I would argue that there can be a lot of envy when it comes to men and like competitive men.
Success, sports.
Success in particular, like career-wise, because I feel like that can crumble a man where they feel like anything that takes away their masculinity. So it could be envious of having the super hot girl who is, has it all. Your guy friend who has that girl.
It's never worth it, guys. Trust me on this one. It's never worth it.
Get yourself an average. Yeah.
Yep. No matter how hot they
There's a scale out there, and I'd say it's pretty accurate.
Somebody somewhere is sick of their stuff.
Yeah. So I think envy can hit people pretty hard, and I wouldn't say that it's more one sex than the other. I think it depends on what you're looking at. If you're talking beauty standards, for sure women. If you're talking about success, I think men are a lot more envious when it comes to that.
Well, it's because of our entire culture, right? We're training women for a long time, and it's changing. It's definitely changing. But for a long time, the culture was women stay at home, look pretty for the man. Man goes out, makes a living, takes care of the woman. That's been the way for a long time, and it's really hard to change that. So you have a ton of, I would say a great majority of women are fixated on looks. A great majority of men are fixated on success. And men are hyper competitive in sports as well. I mean, they feel like they have to be the best in it because it makes you manly if you're really good at golf or whatever the hell you like to play, or basketball or football, whatever it is, you have to be great at it. And if you succeed, if you have a title, somehow that makes you a better person, which it doesn't, by the way. So there's always I get that. It's the culture thing. It's changing, but it's not changing fast enough. And I don't think it's changing. I see a lot, especially, geek culture kind of came on, and success isn't as imperative to a lot of guys today. It's not so much about what I have and how much I get. It's about what kind of person I am. I see that changing, at least with my friends. I don't know about the world at large, but I don't see that changing at all with women. I see that getting worse, where they're getting more and more envious of other women, and they're getting more and more fixated on beauty and what they look like and how they dress. And,
Well, we have higher access to it now.
Well, I mean,
so now we're looking at it all the time. It used to be we were just looking at it in magazines, or it was just talked about, or maybe it was on the news. Now it's every time you open your phone, all you see are ads that are for you. They're made for you. They're sponsored for you. And they're all like models. You're just looking at models if you're scrolling through Facebook or Twitter all day. That's what shows up.
My ads are all for video games. So
are they pretty people playing video games?
No, you do occasionally get those ads for free online games, sexiest game ever made, and it has like some kind of stripped down avatar staring at you.
I don't even shop at these websites, and I get ads for them as a female. Like, I don't shop there at all.
But you do care about how you look.
Will you leave the house without getting ready?
I'm going to get ready, but that doesn't mean I'm going to get all dolled up. I barely ever do all my makeup
define
anymore.
Getting ready.
Showering, and I'm going to put on foundation, and
so that would be no. You don't. You can't leave. You can't.
I can get ready in the same amount of time as
a
man.
Could you wake up in 5? I doubt that's true. In fact,
is true.
No, that's not true.
Yes, it is. 30 minutes. How do you think I can get up
ready
and get
in 12 minutes?
Whoa, 30. I probably get ready in about 5 minutes.
No, I'm talking about a shower and getting out of the
12
house.
12 minutes.
Okay. Well, if I'm counting the shower, I will say 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 to 12 minutes. That's about right.
Okay, well, that's you two. I've literally been with men who take longer than that. So,
well, you said 30. Foundation. Isn't that already something towards beauty, though?
Yeah, it is. I'm not saying that I don't get dolled up every time I go out. I don't have to put lipstick on. I don't have to make sure my eyeliner is
Foundation
on point.
Is still makeup, though.
It is. I'm not saying that I don't wear makeup. You're not listening to me.
I hear defensive. Do you hear it, Zach?
No, you're just not listening to me. I'm not saying that I don't wear makeup to get ready. I'm just saying I don't get dolled up every day to go out. So, of course, I care about how I'm representing myself and if I look decent, but that doesn't mean that I'm going out looking like a high-end. I pretty much every day my hair is natural. I leave it naturally curly, just let it do its thing. So I wouldn't say I care.
Here's my advice for every woman. Every woman I've ever known, I have found more attractive without makeup than with makeup.
That's
I agree with that.
Wrong.
I actually agree with that most of the time.
I'm telling you about my personal. You can't tell me my personal opinion is wrong.
I've seen my face with makeup and without it, and it's 100 times better with makeup.
I think that's what women are trained to think.
Well, then
they're raised to believe.
The question is even about.
My
honestly.
eyeballs literally are like, you look so much better. Like if I did half of my makeup on one face.
That's a mental
thing. But I think
thing.
that's just natural for women.
I think it's natural because of the way society has made it.
Yeah, I think that plays into the question where women are taught to be more envious. Or
it doesn't mean I'm envious, but I am more concerned, I guess.
That's envious.
No.
Okay.
Just because I'm making sure that I look okay doesn't mean that I'm envious of every person I see walking by. There's plenty of people who I'm like, my hair looks a lot nicer than yours if I had to think about it.
Wow. Well, now you're just an a-hole.
Look, my hair, I have good hair. I've been blessed.
All right,
That's
what else? What else has she got?
So her next question also revolves around envy.
Of course it does. Mm-hmm. Zach's theme.
What a terrific word, I think.
Mm-hmm. It should be a moral for every story.
How do you think we can overcome the problem of comparison and envy?
Oh, I got it. I'll take this one.
Go ahead.
I'll take it.
You're raising your hand, which is great for podcasting.
Raise your level of I don't give up to an 11 because I've done it and it works great. I just don't care. I don't care what anybody else has. I don't care what anybody's title is. I don't care what anybody looks like. I don't care. Hold yourself to your own standard. That's all that should matter. You want to overcome it? That's what you do. Stop trying to measure whatever with someone else. It doesn't matter what they have, what they do. It's what you do. That's fine.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's as simple as flipping a switch, but he is right. You gotta worry about your personal happiness. You can't be worried about, maybe don't make your goal to be running a motion picture studio or something. I don't know. Just be happy in the life you can have, I guess. Make the most of it. You don't have to have a mansion to be happy. Find someone you care about that cares about you, and you can be happy.
Okay, it can be.
When did you turn into a softie?
Pretty sure that's a Hallmark movie that he just quoted.
He's reading a Hallmark card right now.
It could be.
He took it. He's like, ooh, someone gave me this like a year and a half ago. I should get this.
$1.99. I don't know what that means, but that's part of the quote. It can be as easy as flipping a switch, though. I wish more people would try that. Just make it a mental exercise. All the things you spend all day fixating on, this person has that person has that, this person's better. People get fixated on they're better than me because they have a jet or they have a title. If you go to work and let's say your job is a clerk or coordinator, and then you have somebody come in who's a vice president. He is not better than you. He's more important at the position where you work. But as soon as you walk out that door, whether it's Kmart, McDonald's, Microsoft, whatever it is, that dude is nowhere more important than you are. You should be more important to yourself than that dude. That guy is just a guy. You saw him on the street. You don't have to do what he says. You don't have to. He's not your boss. He's just that guy. That stops at the door. People get stuck on that. I'm speaking as a guy. Guys get stuck on that because the whole power thing, because we want to be successful. And the guy that's a VP, he's better than me because he's doing it so much better. That's so much luck and knowing the right people. It's not always talent. It's not always intelligence. It's definitely not qualifications. 9 times out of 10 that I've seen, it's always because of who you know. So stop fixating on that and find what makes you happy, what makes you tick, what makes you... It is as easy as flipping a switch. You just have to find the switch to flip. Sorry.
Ain't nobody better than nobody.
Damn right.
Motivational speaking here.
I'm not trying to be motivational. I'm just saying stop letting yourself be a victim to that nonsense.
Quick interjection, they're not even more important than you in the workplace. Every cog of the machine is just as essential as the next cog.
I agree with that.
That is true.
Just one can tell you to do something you don't want to do. All right, fine, I got to do it.
You don't have to. Hey, everybody, and I'm specifically to the teenagers listening, you don't have to listen to what
this is how you get fired. Don't listen to Zach.
Yeah, this is probably
do you
the one
need
where
money?
Zach's wrong.
Do you pay rent?
I've lived by this motto,
bills?
And I've only been fired a couple times.
A couple meaning like 10, 12?
More than a handful.
I have not been fired in some years now.
Like
Hey.
2?
You've grown. What about you, Amanda?
kidding.
What is your answer to your own question?
Well, I feel like
her question.
I feel like the question is different for me because I feel like the question, we're looking at it from our own perspectives. You guys don't have the beauty perspective. So for me,
Hey!
that's not what I meant.
Piss off. We're really good looking.
You guys are handsome fellas.
Now that's pity. That's
You're not going to take my pity?
yeah. No, I'll take it.
That's a different story.
I'll take it because
Yeah.
it's accurate.
Okay. All right. Fine. My point was that men are looking at envy from a success standpoint. They're not looking at it from a beauty standpoint, where women are looking at it, as we already discussed, from that beauty standpoint. So I feel like it's a little bit different in terms of flipping the switch on and off because there's so many different people that you're going to pass by that you might make that comparison to, because the question is comparison or envy. So those comparisons are very easy, I think, for women to fall into that trap of just looking at what they have versus what you physically have. That is how you're determined if you are a valuable person often as a female. Like your level.
She means envy and jealous too, right? Like just.
I assume.
Yeah.
So she doesn't say jealous by nature, but I'm sure she's referring to that as well.
I never
Well,
get
envy
jealous.
and jealousy are a thin line.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So for women, I think it's just a different process because you're not looking at it from you can't just step out of the street and then that's no longer an issue for you. It's everywhere that's around you. that you're taught to be concerned about those things. So I think it just has to get to a point where you start to feel comfortable with who you are, at least as an individual. Like, for example, I'm still a very insecure person about myself physically, but at least I know and I can rely on myself to feel comfortable with who I am as an actual person, my personality, me as a human being, the things that I do to help others. I rely on that. I'm like, well, I might not be like a dime, but at least I'm like a 6, maybe 6.5, but I've got a solid 10 personality. So like if you can
not a dime, but you're at least a nickel, maybe a copper penny.
Right. Copper penny for sure. No, but I think if you can work on bettering yourself in the ways that you are insecure about, and you can find the things that you do love about yourself and fixate on those good things rather than the things you don't like about yourself, it can make it a little bit easier to avoid getting into the constant comparisons and envy and jealousy when it comes to beauty standards, which is what the trap women fall into.
I'm telling you, once you gain inner confidence, you lose a lot of jealousy. Like I probably, when I was younger, I was jealous as a guy who dated and stuff. But then I began to, I raised my don't give up to an 11 as I got older, probably like after my 30s. I haven't been jealous of anything since then. My wife's a very attractive person.
She's way out of your league.
I'm sure she gets hit on.
That helps.
Yeah, it helps. But I'm sure she gets hit on all the time. I've been at bars where people have like been scoping her out or whatever.
Me too.
I never bothered her.
For the people looking at Aaron's wife, always remember this key piece of wisdom. Boyfriend ain't nothing but a roadblock, and a husband ain't nothing but a goalie. All right.
Well, that's an interesting way to live your life. But it doesn't.
Put that one in your back pocket.
We'll make sure to send that one to your wife, Zach.
Hey, you know what? Good luck.
She understands.
You're nothing but a goalie.
I'm just saying that if you get inner confidence, you don't have the jealousy thing. It just goes away. I just don't even think about stuff like that. And most people, you shouldn't, because if somebody's gonna leave you for that hotter person or whatever, they're gonna do it. There's nothing you can do. You don't own them. Stop. Jealousy is one I just can't understand, because it's just let it go. Move on. You know what? Lots of fish in the sea. Get a new pole.
Well, I think you're born with the one pole.
You know what? These days you can get a new pole. I hear that.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, you can do all kinds of things now. So there you go. I'm not a fan of jealousy. I actually have friends, or I've had friends who get very, very jealous. And then they'll try and confide in me about it. And it's literally the one conversation with friends I can't have because I can't understand it. I'm just like, oh man, she's totally into this dude, and I think she's going to leave me. Well, then trade her, get a new one.
Trade her in. Go to the car dealer, say that you're dropping off the keys.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Wait, why would you drive yourself crazy for something like that? If they don't want to be there, set them free or whatever the saying is. Don't kill yourself. I guarantee you she'll want to stay there longer if you don't go miserable thinking about that every 5 seconds.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. If you get fixated on the jealousy and stuff like that, that's just going to push the person away.
Absolutely.
No. And if they're the kind of person who's trying to get a rise out of you and make you jealous, probably not a good person.
Nope. Nobody wants to be with a smotherer. I can tell you that. Nobody knows.
No.
What else she got?
That was it. That's all she's got for us.
Oh, man, let's just talk about envy and jealousy a little longer. It's a great moral.
Do you guys think this story is truth or fiction?
It's true every day.
It's true. There's a Bible lesson involved. It's true.
I have no idea. She didn't tell us if it was truth or fiction.
Definitely true.
Mystery for the world.
Mystery for the world.
Damn it.
Hey, for the record, I'm not jealous of anybody. All right?
Ever?
I have no envy.
0? Ever?
Well, I try to live by everyone's doing the best they can do. It's not going to help me out by getting envious of anybody.
Sure won't.
Even somebody who gets to hang out with the Spider-Man costume from the Tobey Maguire movies.
They're just hanging out with the costume?
Like they get to try it on and wear it.
Wait.
Maybe Tobey Maguire took it home with him.
Can we go back to this is the analogy you decided to land on?
I was trying to figure out something Zach would care about, and the only thing I could come to mind was
What if you could hang
Spider-Man.
out with a piece of fabric from a movie you love? How about that? Would it talk to me? Would it have would it just hold me? Would it fabric its
Maybe.
arms over me?
Well, that's how, you know what, I'm a budding games journalist. I don't get jealous or envious of somebody interviewing a game developer I like. All I think is, well, one day I'll do that.
That's a positive way to think about it.
That's the way you should think of stuff.
That's good.
We're trying to help the people. People, I'm trying to help you.
Just don't listen to the advice about quitting your job or not doing your job so you can get fired and all of that stuff.
No, that's sage wisdom.
No.
Don't let anybody push you around.
Yeah. Don't let your boss tell you what to do, is what Zach's saying. Great advice.
Within reason, okay? If your job is to stock shelves and they tell you to stock shelves, you should probably stock shelves. If your job is to stock shelves and they tell you to clean the toilet, you say, why don't you do it, Bob? And what's he going to do? Make you clean up the toilet? You can't, because in Illinois, that's a workplace violation. You've got to know the laws, you got to know the facts, and you got to know where you stand, and you can't let anybody push you around.
I feel like Bob is a real person, and this happened.
Bob's not a real person, but I have used the biohazard thing, the shtick.
Is that really a law?
In Illinois.
That's an important one to know. So I don't have to clean toilets unless I'm paid to do so?
No, you can't make your entry-level employees handle biohazard. That's an Illinois law.
Good to know. Why would you?
I guess you work at a movie theater, maybe. Just an idea. One idea that came to mind. Don't let people push you around. You're more valuable than you think.
This is the only optimistic thing Zach has said.
I think you're exactly
he's advocating against it, actually. So I don't know if it is that positive.
I think you are exactly as valuable as you think you are. That's what people need to change their mindsets. You are as valuable as you think you are, and you need to think that you're more valuable than you are.
And when it comes to relationships, let me give you a piece of advice.
Aren't you the single one?
Yeah.
We're married. You're single.
I'm doing better than both of you guys at this point.
That's actually debatable, yeah.
We accept the love we think we deserve. Accurate. I didn't write that.
I deserve better than I get, so... My wife doesn't listen to Smirk.
Obviously, otherwise you'd be divorced.
You'd at least be sleeping on the couch.
I'm pretty confident I'd still be okay.
You probably would.
Mm-hmm.
You'd brush it off. Trade her in. Take her to the car dealership.
That's smart. You should brush it off. It wasn't going to work out anyway.
Exactly.
Wow, that's a very negative thing.
If somebody's willing to leave you over something you say that isn't mean and cruel, it's just funny, do you really want them?
Depends on your humor.
No, if you find something funny, the person you're with should find it funny too. Otherwise, you're probably with the wrong person.
That's probably true.
Look at this. I got a million of them. I'm like
Depends
a fortune cookie.
Again.
I walk around. I'm like a Spider-Man costume. Just walking around making the world
a better place.
Oh, man, I'm getting so jealous right now thinking about you with that Spider-Man costume.
I know. I'm holding it right now.
He's doing weird things to it.
Okay, see, there you go with the weird analogy.
I
again.
do.
Well, if I had the costume, I'd be doing weird things.
Yes, he would. In it, on it, around it.
What is the name of Lee's story?
Green.
Envy.
Yeah.
Got it.
Incredible Hulk. Oh, wait. Sorry. Envy.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Oh, don't make
Maybe that's what makes him turn into the Incredible Hulk, is he gets green with envy.
No, it's rage.
I think they literally say anger.
They actually say it in every comic book.
Guys.
Remember it was
Avengers'
a joke? Worst line when he's like, "That's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry."
Yeah.
And everybody collectively rolled their eyes.
Do you guys remember how we were just talking about humor and how you shouldn't be around people who don't get your humor and your jokes?
You should be envious of our humor, Amanda, because it's way better.
I am envious of your humor.
You should be around people that get your jokes, but you should also be funnier.
I should be, but I wasn't raised to be. This is who I am. Except who you are, remember? And are you trying to do my closing line? My closing line?
We're accepting who you are, and we were afraid when we weren't going to get there because you talk.
Wow. As you write your own life story, always remember to tell it.
There's all the other stuff.
With a smirk.
There's stuff.
You were going for it, so I just finished it up.
Okay, fine. Show's over. Bye.
Please also leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. That would be much appreciated. 5 stars. We love them.
5 stars or bust.
I guess we're done.
That's it.
That's the end of the show. We're over. Bye. Peace out.
I'm so envious of other podcasts that's closing.
Love better.
Love more.